You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hello and welcome to episode 228 of the Soul Forge podcast.
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. My name is Sean, and I am so glad you could join me for this week's topic. What are we talking about this week, gang? Well, as you can tell by the title, we are talking about, Facebook memories and paths not taken and all that kind of stuff. But first, I wanted to acknowledge last week's episode, the Prepping for the End of the World episode. Got some cool comments. Lots of people reached out and got some especially really great comments from Richard from Australia. And if you are not following the show on Facebook, go to the Facebook page, check out the episode link, check out his comments. He really had a lot of good insight and things to say. Basically, he said it might just be simpler to die than preparing for the end of the world. And I did mention that briefly in the show last week, but it was mostly about actually prepping for all kinds of scenarios and whatnot. So yeah, it was a fun episode to do. Touched a lot of people. I've talked to people since then, and I'm not the only one that's either interested in prepping or have thought about it. Every time I mention it to Julie, she just shakes her head and laughs at me. So that's what's going on there. In other news, Daisy the dog, she is quite pregnant now, and I think we're maybe less than 3 weeks away from the puppies being born. So that's kind of exciting and scary and nerve-wracking. As this episode comes out on Thursday, November 18th, for the first time in 22 years, there will be 2 episodes of Star Trek premiering on the same day. We've got the 5th episode of Star Trek Prodigy and the first episode of Season 4 of Star Trek Discovery.
Black alert. Black alert.
And this hasn't happened since 1999 when we had both Star Trek Voyager and Star Trek Deep Space Nine on the air at the same time. So history is being made, I guess you could say. Anything else that I need to talk about before we get into the main topic? No, not really. I'm just going to mention that I do have a shop on Etsy called Rusted Robot Toys, and I'm selling vintage things and pop vinyls and all kinds of random stuff. And I'm currently at 69 sales.
69, dudes!
Just thought I'd mention it. So before we get into the main topic, and I lose my train of thought and flow of consciousness conversations and whatever I'm going to say, let's play a promo for another podcast right here on the ESO Network.
We're the Con Guys, coming to you straight from the nerdy heart of Hollywood, California. We are your home for news, opinions, and interviews from the world of Comic-Cons and fandoms, your ultimate insiders for all things
Not sure what promo I played there because I haven't edited the podcast yet and I haven't looked up in advance what promo I'm playing next. But anyway, you'll be as surprised as I am. Go check it out if you want. Something strange happened last Thursday. It was Remembrance Day. Nothing strange about that. It happens every year. But as many of you will know, that was supposed to be my wedding anniversary, because Bridget and I got married November 11th, 2012. That was a rather short-lived marriage. We broke up in 2015, and I thought, you know what? I'm never going to get divorced. I'm never going to get divorced because I don't really want to. I don't believe in it. we'll just stay married and just never talk or see each other. But then a few years later, I thought, that might not be smart, might not be a wise idea. So in 2018, I got the divorce. That's episode 51 of Soul Forge if you'd like to revisit that. But anyway, long story short, what I do in the mornings as part of my morning ritual is I check my Facebook memories just to see how clever or silly or dumb I was in previous years. Well, wouldn't you know it, I'm looking through my Facebook memories on November 11th, and oh yeah, that's fun. That's a cool meme. I'll have to copy that and share it again because it meant something. And then I come to 9 years ago, and it says, Sean and Bridget got married. I'm like, oh fuck, that's right. We did get married on this day 9 years ago. This is the first year that I had forgotten that November 11th was our anniversary. It was. I don't even know what it was. I was shocked at my own self, I guess. I'm not even sure how to describe it. It was just weird because I, in previous years, always knew that the date was coming and it was just a thing that I knew. But this year, for whatever reason, it slipped my mind. I had totally forgotten. And maybe that means I'm finally healed and over the loss and the heartbreak and the crap and whatever. I don't know, but I feel okay. And the funny thing is, if I really think about that relationship, I thought it had a huge, huge impact on my life. But when I really think about it, what have I taken away from that marriage? That whole relationship? Not much. It got me into podcasting, and I think that's basically about it. Yeah. I haven't really talked about her too much lately. I haven't seen her in years, which I'm okay with. The short version of the thing is we got married November 11th, 2012. We only had our parents at the wedding and just the witnesses. But we wanted to have a big shindig, and so the following July we threw a fake wedding ceremony and had a big party, and it was fun. And then a few years later, she decided that the marriage was over because she wanted to be with the husband of her maid of honor. So, okay, so that was the end of that, and that was the end of their marriage, and I guess they're still together from what I know, but I don't really know because I don't care. So anyway, November 11th, looking through the memories, holy crap, I have forgotten. And maybe I'd forgotten because November 12th would have been the 20-year anniversary of November 12th, 2001, which is the day I started Teletech in North Bay, which I considered for quite a while the beginning of my adult life because I had finished all my schooling and that was my first job after everything. And it was my first grown-up job. I was a call center jockey, a phone minion, whatever it was, customer service rep. I did that for 5 years before I went to Home Depot for a year and then to the post office after that. So yeah, I always remember November 12th as the day I started my adult journey. But it got me thinking all about life's journeys, paths that we take, the road not taken, all that kind of fun stuff. Partly because of the Facebook memories and the anniversaries and stuff. But also last week, I was looking at a picture. What was the picture? I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, it was a picture of a family picture taken in 1986 of me and my brother Curtis, my mom, stepdad, and Robin was just a little baby. Julie looked at it and she said, "Oh, you got a nice smile there." I'm like, "Yeah, that's probably the last time I ever smiled because I had crooked teeth, and you can kind of tell from the picture." And I was super embarrassed by the crooked teeth that I had. I eventually got braces, but for 15 years or so, I pretty much didn't smile because I didn't like my teeth. People made fun of me, and my self-esteem was in the toilet. So anyway, what I told to Julie, I said, yeah, because I didn't have straight teeth, I pretty much ended up in Timmins later in my life. So what? How did that work? Well, let's think about paths and things that happen because of certain events. So when I was a kid, had bad teeth. Brother Curtis had buck teeth. So they decided that Curtis would get braces and I would not. even though he was the younger child and I was the oldest. My dad decided that, I don't think he ever really liked me anyway, so he gave Curtis the braces, and I didn't. I had to buy my own when I was 23. But anyway, long story short, no bitterness there at all, as you can tell. Anyway, didn't smile, had low self-esteem, whatever. I was born and raised in Sault Ste. Marie, and went to college, university, whatever, in North Bay. After university, got my braces back in the Sioux, but I was living in North Bay, traveling back and forth to get them fixed up or tightened, or the elastics changed every couple months. All good. So anyway, if I hadn't needed braces, I never would have met Lynn and ended up in Timmins. And how does that work? Well, think about it this way. I was living in North Bay. I was working at the call center. Lynn was working at the call center on a different shift, but I didn't know her. There was probably 400 or 500 people working there. On one of my trips back to the Sioux, I think I was actually getting the braces off at that point, and I was there for a few days. And so I told Brother Robin, I said, you know what? I'm 25. I'm tired of being single. Was I 25? I think I was 25. Yeah, I was 25. And I didn't want to be single anymore. And I said, hook me up with this ICQ thing and help me find somebody in North Bay that I can be with or go on a date with or whatever. So he did. He hooked me up with the ICQ. And I searched people in North Bay, and I found Lynn. I think her handle was Pretty Kitty. And we started talking, and we hit it off, and we decided to meet. So I get back home to North Bay after a few days, and I think I see her, but I'm not 100% sure because the picture that she sent wasn't very clear. This was, 2002? So there wasn't really too much digital camera stuff back then, and whatever. It was not a good picture, so I couldn't tell what she actually looked like. But a few days later, I see her there. I write her a note, and I'm like, "Pretty Kitty?" ? And she's like, "Took you long enough." And so we started chatting, and we hit it off, and we ended up together, and moved in together after, it was probably maybe a month and a half, 2 months, way too soon. But I was 25. I wanted to start my life. I wanted to be an adult and just get things over with. So anyway, we moved in together. And after about a year, she got a transfer from the call center in North Bay to the call center here in Timmins. And of course, I got a transfer too, because while we were together, and I figured, well, we're financially linked, and might as well go on up to Timmins. I never thought I'd go up there, but okay. So I did. Because of my braces, I ended up in Timmins because I had crooked teeth as a child. So that's one flow to another. That's kind of weird. But do you ever think about the way life went because of crazy coincidences or choices not taken? Because when I was in high school, I picked a bunch of different universities and colleges that I could have gone to. Where were they? Let me see. The Sault Ste. Marie is a border town, so I applied to what's it called? Lake State University, just the college or university just across the border. So I could still live at home and just be a student in the American side. So I decided not to do that. I also applied to Windsor. What was the other one? Thunder Bay and North Bay. And what did I do? I ended up going to North Bay because it was the closest, and the girl that I'd had a crush on since grade 9 was also going there. So that's what happened there. But I could have gone to Windsor. I could have gone to, what's the other one? Thunder Bay. Or I could have stayed home and just gone across the river, across the border every day or whatever. So different choices, different thoughts. You never know where your life is going to end up. So because I had crooked teeth and I had a crush on a girl in grade 9 and all throughout high school, I went to North Bay, met Lynn, moved to Timmins. I've been here 18 and a half years. Am I going to stay here? I'm not sure. It seems pretty likely so far because I've kind of been institutionalized, as I mentioned in a previous episode. I've been here so long, and it's kind of a scary thought to start over again. So what kind of conclusions can we draw from these kind of things? I don't really know. All I do know is that I often think about the path not traveled, the road not taken. What if I had done this instead of this? What if in 20 12, I did not leave Trish and did not get with Bridget. Would I still be with Trish all these years later? Perhaps, maybe not. What if Bridget hadn't decided to break up our marriage and break up the marriage of the other couple just to be with the other guy? Would we still be together? Would we still be doing the Rusted Robot podcast? I have no idea. I don't know what would we be doing, but I often think about things that could have happened differently in different ways, because those are alternate realities. And if there's one kind of story I like or love, well, I love time travel, but I also love alternate reality stories. What would have happened had we turned left instead of right? Should have taken that left at Albuquerque, like Bugs Bunny used to say. So that's just a weird, brief thought experiment podcast episode for all of you out there in podcast land, because of the weird things that happened last week, where I totally had forgotten that it was my wedding anniversary, and because of the comment about the teeth and how I ended up here and all that kind of weird stuff. So this might not be a very long episode, but it's definitely food for thought. Hope you enjoy it. I don't know what I'm going to talk about next week, because I never know what I'm going to talk about the next week. But whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be equally awe-inspiring, weird, exciting, and fun. So if you've enjoyed this or have stories of your own, send a message to soulforgepodcast@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you out there. All of you, any of you, some of you. Send me a quick shot, a tactical mini, a 2 or 3 minute MP3 file, so I can play some listener content, whatever you want to call it, on the show. That would be awesome. I do want to thank the Bills and Richard from Australia for their emails and comments. And I guess that's basically it. Take care of yourselves and each other. And remember, 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Soul Forge Podcast. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we hope you'll tune in again next time. Remember that you can visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links, and don't forget to share the show with everyone you know. The Soul Forge Podcast is your best source for living your best life.
Think about it.
2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh somewhere ages and ages hence. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.